We're gonna do the Nas versus Skoob pay-per-view. I already watched it, but like we're gonna watch it again since it's out on YouTube. I never got a chance to, so fuck it, let's do it.
This life and off the dribble, we'll be bringing culture to
Greatest
basketball.
1v1 game of all time, Judgment Day.
To Judgment Day.
Jump ahead.
Ready for this game. Davo, what's happening?
All right, y'all, the main event. The moment we've all been waiting for. The two top guys in the space are about to battle it out. Both of these dudes are undefeated when they're playing to 30, which is incredible, man. Nazir Core, the blueprint, the man who has the
we know who the fuck playing.
Blueprint
versus the Black Ghost.
We have one for the ages. This was for the history books, for the culture. We're here at Judgment Day. Nasir Core versus Uncle Skoob. Let's get to it.
Hit in.
Nasir Core with the first possession, getting downhill. Easy lay.
Great finish.
That's a hard drive to stop. You either got to get in front of that or you got to push back on it. That's good hands, though. You can do that, too. You can do that, too.
Man, we got people standing and everyone's excited. Oh,
Uncle Skoob taking his time, getting a jumper. Can't get it to go, though. Nasir Core can't get it to go.
That's good defense. That's good at defense.
Uncle Skoob working from the left wing.
Ooh, Skoob within. Skoob within. Laney.
I know it's only two possessions, but Skoob is creating more space. And I thought he would. And that's going to be the key for him.
What a matchup we have. Uncle Skoob taking his time. Uncle Skoob came in locked in.
That's how you turn it on into
talk to us.
To an opera.
Uncle Skoob versus Nas. Just a great job by crowding his space there by Nasir Core.
Defense right there.
Didn't leave him any room to make that crossover.
They sandwiching the ref. They pushing the ref out the way.
Nasir Core, three-pointer is up. Back iron.
Everyone in the space, the last couple months that they've been calling the arm tap, they've been very clever with how they have their hand in the cookie jar and they release it on the shot.
Nas, three-pointer is up. Nothing. Nas playing defense.
That crossover be getting me, bro.
Downhill layup is good.
I think the Skoob handle got a whole lot better before this.
So they have to add something to their game because they know each other's game so well. Skoob has gone, oh my gosh.
I'm talking about he done hit Nas with that bitch 3 times. In 3 different ways. 2 to 9.
Biggest game of the day. Pay-per-view is Judgment Day. Uncle Skoob came to play. Uncle Skoob taking the time, left hand.
That nigga Skoob start going crazy.
Losing their mind right now.
11-2 explosion.
Ball game right now. He got a lead.
This is the recipe that we said. He needs to get off to a hot start.
Uncle Skoob driving with the left hand. Gets to 2. Shoots the jumper. No good.
Hey, that was a lot of contact and a lot of physicality. But it hasn't bothered him so far.
Yo, I teamed up with DraftKings Sportsbook. Big weeks for hoops, and if you weren't in on the action, listen up. New customers.
All right, whatever.
Bet $5 and get $3. Thanks to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring.
answer, too.
11-2 Skoob.
No fouls.
I ain't gonna lie, I thought Nas was cooked.
I don't know. You're looking at me like I'm supposed to say something, but I'm in shock.
As am I. This is one for the history books. Right now, Uncle Skoob is showing off his full bag. It's on display right now. You see Nas early in this game, he got to the right-hand lay. It was easy. But then after that, a lot of Uncle Skoob.
A lot of Skoob.
Wow, Uncle Skoob.
He's done a great job at creating separation. So he's had a couple full-speed drives, and then he's had a couple full-speed drives where he snatched it back really quick. Here's a good example here, and he's reacting quickly to that separation. Nas is not going to give you a lot of space.
I just seen something.
Skoob is doing a great job stopping on the dime, being deceptive with his movements, getting the 2 feet. Ball fakes,
left-handed,
finishing it with the left hand.
Left-hand
touch
floater.
is impeccable.
With the left hand.
I'm telling y'all, this is Judgment Day
Left
presented by
flotation
Ballers
to
Life
right,
and Off the
float
Dribble. We have 2 of the top
Float
dogs in the
skis.
space right now going 1v1.
Left hand floats.
That's why I was telling you, I don't like him going right. He's faster going right. Left, you're not, he had to pump fake you twice going left. You got to keep that in mind. So rely, if you know he's going to pump fake, he's not finishing over the top of you going left. No way. Stay down and stay in contact. And once you get him to go down,
You're up 9, but like that lead can disappear against Nas. So it's like 0-0. Do that same thing again. Try to take your little wins where you can. Honestly, it's a race to halftime right now for Skoob. You want to be going into that second half with a little bit of a cushion.
All right, let's get to it.
Okay, then.
Nas.
That nigga.
We saw that first possession though last time.
That's tough. That's the left side too, with the left hand.
We saw that first possession though last time.
He said, "Fuck all the bullshit."
Just taking what he wants right
I'm
now.
going straight downhill. No skill
Nas
shit.
again, getting downhill, takes the bump, can't finish.
Good foul. Good foul. Yeah, you gotta make these every bucket hell for Nas right now.
Nas at the line. Gets it to go. Nas with a 3. Nothing.
You know, oddly enough, I don't know if Nas needs the jab 3 this game. I really like when he's gotten downhill.
Uncle Skoob starting from deep right now. Near the volleyball line.
God damn.
Foul.
I think that was pretty clean, but because
ran into
Skoob
a
is
brick
driving
wall.
so hard to the basket, any sideways contact is going to look worse. He's got to keep doing that. Keep being aggressive, be decisive.
Brick wall.
I like what I'm seeing from Skoob.
Uncle Skoob reads separation, gets some pull up.
Nigga Skoob with the off balance fader.
Man, where do you want to force him? From the top of the key,
Deep
force him to
fader.
the corner, shoot a fadeaway too.
But that's the thing.
Skoob is just different, man.
Skoob the thing.
We know Uncle
Skoob
Skoob, them
time.
corners, he does really well from there.
That's a foul.
He's almost automatic. If you're looking at the left or the right corner, Uncle Skoob is going to let it fly. Foul on the play. 13-5 ball game.
13-5.
Uncle Skoob with a lead.
Brett, I like the decision.
He rushed that one a little bit.
If you go into halftime 16-5, you're feeling pretty good. But now
I do like the balls though.
Got to get a stop here. Nas with the one-on-one on the back of his jersey.
Damn.
Let's see what he does here. Foul on the play.
I think Nas is just going to have to live there all day, just straight downhill. Skoob straight to his corner on this free throw. Most players haven't been doing that. So Skoob is now favored 57% over Nas. Huh. How quickly things
It's crazy
change.
how they had the odds like actively going like it's a real,
Uncle Skoob with a great contest up
what's
top.
called game.
Good defense.
And some of that, too, is like Nas knows every layup counts now. Every layup has a little bit more pressure. I'm not saying that's why he missed, but sometimes it's just enough.
That nigga was going fast. That nigga Skoob was going fast.
Scissors to halftime. Wow.
That That's crazy.
What are we witnessing right
Green
now?
fuck, nigga.
This is history in the making. This is Judgment Day, presented by
16-6.
Ball is Life and Off the Dribble Chat. Talk
Imagine
to us.
if he left him there, though.
Time right now. What we're seeing right now from Uncle Skoob,
they would have started
this
calling
man
Nas
is
a
on another
fraud.
planet.
What just happened? What just happened? That was an and one possibly too.
I need a
W
replay on
follow.
I gotta see that.
Let's go to the monitor.
Man, he's just been so crafty with
Appreciate
every
the
type
follow.
of bucket. He's been getting it every different way.
He's getting whatever he likes right now, just being deceptive with his ball fakes, like we talked about in the first half, his touch around the rim. But Nas is not going to go down easy. Although Uncle Skoob does have a 10-point lead, it's anyone's game, especially when you're as skilled as Nasir Kaur is in this 1v1 space. He does not have the top spot for no reason.
Don't keep pressing up. Because he's grabbing the ball and you're just taking off.
It's like he's scoring in every different way. And we knew he was going to have to do this. I'm really impressed. Now, I think Nas has to do the opposite. He just got super simplified, just get straight to that bucket.
Yeah, when I'm looking at this right now, we got the second half. It's going to be very competitive. But Uncle Skoob is in full control right now. Let's get to it.
My boy Scoob thing, but he been hitting. Oh my God, he been hitting Nas with that crossover so crazy.
He's just moving so fast.
He been killing him with that.
What move was that? Have you ever seen that? What is that?
He's just so deceptive. He's like a magician with the rock right now. Nas,
there we go.
Attacking hard right. Gets there.
That's what we're going to have to see from Nas. But if you give that ball back to Skoob, it's going to get dangerous. He's just on one today.
Nas, way to stop the bleeding. Three-point shot is up, and it's and one.
Nigga close the gap just like that.
We're watching primetime elite basketball. Two pros going at this is great. This is crazy.
This is why we love the game. This is why we love the sport. This is why we love the culture.
Good man.
That nigga said, I'm putting my head down, my shoulders down, straight into your chest. That's all we doing.
Nas to the line.
Fuck all the skill shit. Fuck all the crossovers and the step back threes. Fuck all that. We going straight to the cover
within
room.
4 points right now. Again, if y'all just tapping in, target score is 30.
He could have went up.
He needed to shot fake. He had him. Finish the spin.
I was about to say, he could have kept going to the right. He didn't have to pump it.
Size and strength. So when you bump,
he might have got an and one if he tried to contest it late.
He acted like Skoob wasn't going to feel that bump. So I think Nas just got trusted.
Uncle Skoob, trade ball.
That's good.
Right away, it's good.
Off the glass. He said, fuck it. We gonna get it how we live.
Right now, Uncle Skoob, aka the Black Ghost, pivoting, taking his time.
That nigga Skoob. That nigga Skoob was making some impossible shit.
Uncle Skoob, he's in prime time.
Like Nas was playing good at defense, but Skoob was just making shit look crazy.
The two shots that I'm surprised that Skoob missed were the step throughs. Those are the ones that he usually makes just out of nowhere. Great ball up. Hey, that's good basketball. That's good basketball.
That was great defense, but way better than defending. Like I did not think he was gonna get that off.
That's great basketball.
And I thought they were gonna call foul.
And this is where it's gonna be won or lost for Nas.
Jumper is up and it's good.
He hitting those too though.
4-point ball game. We got
boy 19.
This is a classic. I know y'all paid to see this one. It's prime time, main event.
That nigga.
Uncle Skoob, Nasir Kaur.
That's a good hand. That's a good fucking hand.
Man, Skoob is fighting. He's just fighting. Good timeout. I don't mind it.
Timeout on the floor.
And I believe that's his first.
Of the second half, yes, sir.
Yeah. So I don't mind it.
Wow. This is exactly what we came to see.
Yeah. He's selling out one way because you're so heavy. So once you drive, he's giving it his all. If you make any other move, you're kind of dead. You ain't had that. I don't listen. Offensively, bro, it ain't a nigga. Even me, Mike. That's you. Defensively, I like what you're doing. Defensively, I like it. You see the difference now with the cushion? Yeah. He made a backboard top of the key three. I've never seen that. Never seen that. So keep in mind, bro, you're playing great defense. He's making unbelievable shots. He's a hell of a player, but don't even worry about it. I want you to keep your same distance. Right now, you're standing in front of him. That's the hardest part. He's fast. So you stand in front of him, you give yourself a chance. Now it's pump fake, fade away. Okay, we like that. That's a bad shot. We'll take that.
They're so efficient. Every other game we've seen today, there's been like a lull of like no scoring, no defense, like a couple turnovers in a row. Nothing yet. This game is just like moving.
This is the top of the food chain, and this is exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get the shot-making ability, the efficiency, and that's why these guys are at the top of the space. Although they're both playing phenomenal defense, their offense is better than good defense.
Scoreboard just keeps ticking over.
Two real bucket getters going at it. Here we go, chat. Uncle Skoob, right to left. Give me that step back. No good.
Almost hit that hole too.
Skoob did the step back. Nas read it, but he stayed down because he was scared that Skoob was going to step through again. So it's like a chess match when you're guarding that step back with Skoob.
Nigga lost it.
Great defense by
They playing good ass defense.
Nas can't corral the dribble, turns it over. Uncle Skoob, a little bit of a rocker, right to left, get downhill, left hook.
The left-handed hook shot.
Was almost there.
It was almost there.
Yeah, Skoob he looks like he's moving way quicker than I'm used to seeing him play. He's usually more methodical and like a lot more hang dribbles. He definitely went in with a solid game plan this game. Like Nas is gonna have to catch up to him.
Not down. That's like his third and 1-3.
Right now to get right back into this ball game, a 1-point ball game, just like that.
So remember when I said like this is what we thought would happen? Well, here we are, a 1-point game. Even with that strong start that Skoob had.
Nas, get downhill.
Head down, drive.
Like that. If you look at the crowd when Skoob was going off, everyone's jumping excited. There's a lot of people that are like really nervous right now that Nas has made this comeback.
Nas, step back, Trey.
This is a great look.
They're going to really the college or the NBA?
Here we go, Uncle Skoob, working from
know.
the left slot, gets the foul. Going to the line.
It's hard to call the sweep through on Nas and Skoob because they actually shoot those. There's a lot of people that go for that sweep through and they're not trying to shoot it. They're actually shooting it. So the refs have been calling those on the ground. But this game, they've been calling them shooting fouls, and I like it.
Skoob converts from the line, knocks the ball game up at 22.
Could be another one. Now this is where Nas needs to keep the momentum in his favor and just another downhill bucket. For Skoob, you do anything but give up a layup. Obviously be there on the catch for the three, but no easy layups. Yeah, great job. And you live.
Great defense by Uncle Skoob. Looked like he caught an elbow to the chops there. Talking to the referee about that. It's a basketball play.
Like to see Skoob go east and west and make him catch up to him again, and then make a play downhill.
Uncle Skoob gets to the right hand, but throws it long.
You know, you look at those couple shots that Skoob's missed too. It's been layups. It's been great contest by Nas, so it's not like he's missing easy shots, but
a little bit of a rush by Nas. He wanted to draw a foul there. Uncle Skoob with the possession, working from the top of the key.
What I don't want to see is them turn into this, try to bait the foul. But I think the reason they're doing that is because both of them are playing such good defense that it's like, well, it's easier for me to try and get a free throw here than have to battle my way to the bucket, because they are trying to get layups too. But it's like that defender is just making it so difficult.
Uncle Skoob behind the back, left him on the ground.
I ain't gonna lie, he low-key carried though. It got caught on his head.
But it's like that
I ain't mad at it
is
though.
making it so difficult.
Shit happened.
Uncle Skoob behind the back, left him on the ground. Uncle Skoob behind the back, left him on the ground.
And then he brought it back to his hip. And then dribbled it again. So really it's like a double dribble. It's out there a double dribble or a carry.
Always looks good from here.
It's not both of them. So this NBA, this got to be college. It's probably international, this high school. Yeah.
Nas, it's a 2. That bump jumper.
Yeah, so when you get on balance and shoot this motherfucker, you crazy as fuck.
Yeah, that's just tough to guard when you wall up and then they get that shoulder to the chest. That's tough. It's kind of a chess match. You just got to guess. Is he going to bump into me or is he going up with the shot? And Skoob's been guessing right most of the time.
Got to take a play out of Bruce's book. Take a charge.
Take a charge. Hey.
No, I actually wouldn't want to see that.
Not in this one. Not in this one. Make game point, free throw, to offensive foul.
Facts. Here we go.
He overspinning on it.
Uncle Skoob ruled the foul.
All right, could have called that one. Yeah. He got to the line. I'm pretty sure he got him. Again, can't review it until the last 5 points, and it's not a player review. Only the referees can decide to review, and you can't review a foul call. You can only review out of bounds, or if it was a 3 or a 2, or 5 dribbles.
Here we go, Skoob, hard right drive. Runaway.
That's tough.
And I think if Skoob wouldn't have lost that last dribble, he was going to end up with a pretty decent shot.
Yeah, if he didn't lose the ball, he probably could have got that off better.
Good defense by Uncle Skoob, causing a change of possession.
Turnover.
Last 6 points. Great look.
No good.
Yeah.
He's mad he missed that one because that was one of the cleanest looks he's had all day.
All night, yes.
It was a little deep, though.
The catch. Clean look for Skoob.
It was a little deep, just a little bit. Alphonse ain't not down, but yeah.
Matchup for the ages. This is an instant classic, game of the year. Nas at the line.
First miss. So I was going to say he's been really efficient from the foul line. I'm glad I didn't say it. Can't blame me. No commentator curse. I waited.
Uncle Skoob getting down.
He got to finish that.
To go.
Got to finish that.
You know, the reason I don't like trying to play for that contact there, that baseline referee, he can't see that because the player is behind. So if there is going to be a call, it's going to be this ref up top, and it's so far away. He's not, they don't want to make that call so far away. Oh.
If you're not giving that call to Uncle Skoob,
you can't call that one.
Nah, you got to be consistent.
Right.
And I like what they're doing here right now.
And it's not hacking. It's not hacking. It's not tripping. It's no blatant. It's chest and hips fouls. Which again, that's very FIBA style of basketball.
Them boys playing.
24 ball game right now. Anybody's game. Uncle Skoob, not
within.
court.
That's crazy. Crossing.
Stuff like that. they said I could say it for you. Oh my gosh, that might be offensive. That might be offensive. Yeah.
Offensive foul called there.
It was that extension with the arm.
And
that extension.
I think he did extend his arm, and
that
I think
extension,
Skoob sold it.
That'll do it every time. And then Skoob sold it too.
I don't think that's the most contact Skoob's ever felt in his life, but we've seen that call made 3 times today.
Oh, for real? I didn't know it was 3 times.
Great angle.
Man.
I like the no call on that too. Because again, Nas isn't like, he's not hacking down. He's keeping his arm still. Just been a stalemate at 24 for a while.
Oh, that back jumper from now.
I don't know about that call. So, where was it at? Let me see.
Back jumper.
Was it the landing? Contest was clean. I don't know about that. That's a flop.
Oh, that back jumper from now. Foul.
So I see Skoob is upset that he didn't get that last foul down low.
Was it his elbow or something? I didn't even see it.
Nas got this one. I think there's a difference when you create space and then you get contact. Whereas whenever he got stopped down low, Nas was already like contacted to him.
Nas at the line. Makes it count.
And also, next foul will be bonus for Skoob.
That bonus rule.
Really, I'm surprised he shot that. And again, I don't know what the conditioning is like at this level because these guys are as conditioned as you can possibly get. I wonder if it does creep in on these last couple and you want to get an easy one just to conserve that energy for the last couple points.
Uncle Skoob isn't creating much space between him and Nas, having a tough time getting the ball to go through.
I think Nas goes
this
back
shit
to
was
his
so
jab
crazy,
right,
bro.
downhill to the left. That's one of his signatures. Does the opposite. Jab left, went right.
Yeah, there wasn't nothing there. You just fell. You was leaning too hard.
I like that. I like that.
I enjoy it as well. I think you got to create that space and that separation. You can't just try to bulldoze.
Like, because there's going to be contact when you drive like that, and what the Skoob's supposed to move out of the way, or you know. And again, neither one of these players they're not hitting arms. It's all contact with the chest and with the hips, and that's what you're taught as a defender. It's a great job closing the gap by Nas.
Rush. You're not creating too much space off of that.
One thing both of them do too, when they go call the timeout, they actually ask their corner, should I call it now? I don't know if you saw Nas just do it too. And they're like, no,
I thought he was
just wipe your hands.
Yeah, okay.
And maybe just wipe your hands and take a second. Oh my gosh. That's scary because I've been the last couple months been watching him. You've been seeing him over in the team settings too. Like he's been knocking those down pretty efficiently.
Uncle Skoob starting a little deeper here. Oh, hey, left to right, right to left. Now with the pump away.
That shit away like it was a fly.
And again, this is
water that shit away.
You know, Nas said it in the face-off. It's not that the body is tired, the legs are tired. It's just you start making a slightly less efficient decisions. And right there, I think Skoob had him. I think he had a pull-up, and I think he had a full speed right, but he crossed it back one more time.
Nas starting tighter to the three-point line here, trying to get efficient.
That was a good
jab
move.
step, goes reverse.
He had it on the left side already.
I think that one looked worse than what it was.
Nigga Dev on the side practicing. Why ain't they have Dev commentating?
Two like walk-down kings. But Skoob, how long has Skoob been stuck at 24?
Or was he MCing?
last 8 possessions,
That might have been
feels like.
And he's had like a couple. I think when he didn't see those decent looks go down, those couple layups, now he's like starting to press a little bit. But really, like the whole complexion of this game could change just by Skoob getting one bucket.
And can't convert from it.
But he keeps the ball. He keeps the ball. People are going to hate this rule now because Nas is the first one to benefit from it. Oh, you can hear the crowd. Listen to the crowd.
Yeah, he called it for sure. They definitely don't like that shit now.
You know, it's not like we just sprung this today.
Step back jumper from Nas, no good.
They're definitely not fucking with that shit now.
Uncle Skoob with the possession. Let's see what he does here. It's been a while since he's seen one go through.
When he caught that bitch, like, yeah, he was in his zone for sure.
First time in a while, big bucket.
2 buckets for either one. Oh, he's feeling great.
I ain't like Skoob really should have won this joint though.
The place is about to erupt. Nas versus Skoob. It's the classic. A game for the ages, chat. Talk to us. We all got winning this game. Nas or Uncle Skoob.
Is this how you wanted the game to go? Down to the last couple possessions?
100%. It wouldn't be right if they weren't going down to the wire. These are the 2 of the best players in the space right now. I don't think either one of these guys were here or put here to get blown out.
That nigga Skoob.
You might get on the first shot. Same principle, bro. Every time, bro, he jabbed you back up, close the gap.
It's money time. Talk to me, chat. We all got make our prediction right now.
Damn, bro, nigga was hype.
Working top of the key.
That's
Gets to that pull up, left it long.
That's as good as it looked as you
That
wanted.
was great defense too.
I think he thought Nas was going to foul him.
Perfectly timed bump by Uncle Skoob. Throws nice air core off balance. 1 bucket right here.
And that's exactly what we were seeing last game with LP and Zay.
Uncle Skoob, top of the key. A bucket here can win it. Spin.
Again, he definitely got his arm, but it's tough just because like it's a fadeaway hook shot, and you know in high school ball, whatever you say, don't bail them out, but you want to see those called.
Nas looking to get active, a little bit of a rocker.
Defense, hey, that's just good. Again, good.
That means they fucking head down.
He took
On the
bump
left
this
side, we
time.
going right hand. Fuck it.
Exact same
We
thing.
just fuck all the skills.
1 possession game either way. It's coming down to the wire, chat. Talk to me. Nas with the possession. Step back 3. Short.
That shit looked like it was gonna be
Looks like
drill,
he
okay.
did. Great defense there by Uncle Skoob.
It does not get any better than this. It does not get any better than this.
Uncle Skoob working out from the left wing. Step back, leaves him on the ground. Can't get it to go.
That's so crazy. Skoob would have hit that. Listen.
I cannot contain myself right now.
Skoob would have hit that joint right there. We looking at a whole nother multiverse right there, man.
The energy in the building is electric.
Off the fall.
You can't call it. It can go either way. 1 possession game, a 3-pointer right here from Nas can
Off
win
the
it.
fall for games. For the #1 spot.
Y'all broke the chat. I can't even read the chat right now. It's broken.
Good job, chat.
Skoob at his chances.
Nas, Uncle Skoob, Nas, getting downhill, going to the line.
Probably the right call, but
He going that left side, right here.
scoreboard, everything overheating. Hey,
Everything
Judgment
is
Day.
just to get to that point.
Can't wait to see what the verdict is going to be. Who is the #1 contender? Who has the top spot? Who is the best in this 1v1 space? The answers will be answered today.
Could you imagine if Skoob would have hit that shot?
Chat, I'm going through it too. Witcher got me on the edge of my seats. Everybody's standing on chairs in the building right now. Will he convert? He sells a free throw.
Damn, he sold 2 free throws.
Gets the ball back.
Oh, he does get it back. I forgot about that.
Back. Now, I do think they're going to take a second to try and fix the scoreboard. I was reading the comments, and they said this rule is going to hurt Nas because he can't foul. He can't hack. Nas is the only one we've seen benefiting from this today. I think there was one earlier, but Skoob, Nas now has gotten the ball back twice.
Dumbass rule, bro.
Now it's a dumbass rule.
A win is a win. A top dog, a top this, a top that. You ain't making no sense.
Take everyone.
Nigga Nas locked the fucking.
There we go. Nasir Kaur can win it with a 3.
Telling you, bro. He was going left side, right hand all rest of the game.
29-28 ball game.
What did I say was his go-to move? Jab right, drive left. How many times is he
all rest of the game, I knew he was doing that.
Scoreboard out again. Scoreboard's out. I think you gotta play this out. You just gotta play. We know it's one more ball.
You said the scoreboard broke.
Let it go.
Hey, we play it out.
Here we go. Money time.
The #1 spot.
Nas getting downhill. Layup. Oh,
Who got his chances?
Bionic. It's 28-29, just for anyone that doesn't know. Next bucket, other than a free throw, will end this.
Uncle Skoob working from the volleyball line. Right to left.
Left
to left.
They ain't call that one.
It's about to be a heartbreak out there for a lot of people, one way or the other. Here we go. Great timing, great timing, great timing.
That was good defense. That was good defense.
I don't think Skoob could play that any better. He handled 3 or 4 bucks from Nas, and he stayed straight up.
Great defense by Uncle Skoob right there. Playing solid. No foul on the play. Both of these guys are giving it everything that they have right now. Working from the left wing, 3. And no foul.
It might have been, I don't know. Nah, these niggas was playing though.
What just...
Don't wait till it happens to me though. No, keep it around like that. Keep it around like that. But you don't come. I know, don't keep it over there.
My nigga Skoob so fair.
Here we go.
Rip by Nas. Foul on the play.
Gets the ball back. And this could be...
On the ground, he's going to the line.
They call it on the ground.
He's in the bonus.
Well, it was a great game, guys.
I think he missed this one too though. Oh no, it didn't. Popped it.
Gets the W on Judgment Day. The #1 top
That nigga took the
spot.
camera.
Nasir Kaur
ultimately, you don't, like most people will say, I don't want to see it ended on a free throw, but like the game is the game. Everyone knows the rules. It is what it is. They're both playing by the same rules. Both battling through adversity. And just Nas somehow finds a way.
Nas did his thing in this game right now. Started off with a deficit, fought his way all the way back, and ends up being the undisputed #1.
Nah, he really played this shit out perfect.
He pulled out the belts.
He almost slipped on his jersey.
Nas.
You know what would have been crazy? If he would have slipped and got a soft tissue injury.
To win that game, but you just
trying to do the celebration after the game.
That way. And this is the sport, and this is why we play. So there are no
out 2 to 3 weeks.
Like Skoob will tell you, that's not a moral victory.
Nah, W game though. W fucking like this was one of the best games ever. For sure. W game for sure.